and took a 3-day trip to Chicago, and we absolutely loved it. We took public transportation everywhere. So in this video, I'm going to share with you all how to get around Chicago on a budget. That's right, we're talking about Chicago's public transportation system explained, how to get from O'Hare Airport to the city center, and so much more coming right up. And welcome back to my channel. At Frolic and Courage, I like to make videos on travel, food, and life, and today we're talking about how to get around Chicago on a budget, how to take public transportation in Chicago, and how the whole system works. We're doing maps, overview, acronyms, everything. So give this video a thumbs up if you're excited, and don't forget to click subscribe to my channel, and let's just jump right into it. Just so we're on the same page here, the Chicago I'm talking about is the Chicago that's located in the United States of America and North America, in the state of Illinois, in Cook and a little bit of DuPage counties, and boom, there you have Chicago. Chicago has around 200 neighborhoods and around 77 communities. Thankfully, Chicago was designed around a grid system, meaning the streets are all parallel to each other, and every 8 blocks is the equivalent of 1 mile. Once you're in the city, Madison Street divides the city north and south, and State Street divides it east and west. And know that the river is always gonna be to the east. So that's a really quick layout of where Chicago is on a map. Now let's jump into some acronyms that you're gonna see if you're gonna use Chicago's public transportation system. Let me explain. The very first acronym you're going to see is RTA, which is the Regional Transport Authority. It's owned by the state of Illinois and coordinates Chicago's public transportation system. The next acronym you're gonna see is CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority. The CTA provides bus services, routes 1 to 206, and the elevated and underground rail system for Chicago. The CTA is responsible for the popular L train, which is also known as the elevated train. It'll take you from O'Hare Airport to downtown Chicago, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. You'll also see something known as PACE. PACE is a network of regional buses, labeled 208 and above, that'll take you all through Chicago's suburban areas. The next thing you'll see is Metra. So wait, Metra, isn't that like the same as the CTA system? No, it's not. CTA operates in downtown Chicago buses as well as rail systems. PACE operates suburban buses, and the Metra operates suburban rails. Metra has limited stops in downtown Chicago, like the Union Station, Millennium Station, LaSalle Street. We're not gonna get into Metra at all because we're talking about downtown Chicago in this video, but if you want, check out the links in the description box below. You'll see references to the South Shore Line, and this is a train service that runs from Fort Bend Airport in Indiana all the way to downtown Chicago. So now, what are the hours of operation for each of these different systems? First, we're gonna start off with the CTA. The CTA runs daily service every 10 to 20 minutes for buses and around every 7 to 10 minutes for rails, or about 10 to 15 minutes for evening rail rides. They have limited Sunday as well as holiday schedule. The good thing about the CTA is that the CTA runs a night owl service that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But this night owl service only runs on select buses and only 2 rail lines. The Red Line is one of the most populated lines that you can take in Chicago. It takes you to your major attractions like Wrigley Field, the Art Institute of Chicago, Navy Pier, just to name a few. If you're looking for more Chicago attractions, check out this video. But the Red Line will get you to a lot of popular places. The second night owl rail service is the Blue Line. This is something that you totally need to know if you're gonna take public transportation in Chicago, because the Blue Line is the only rail service that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it'll take you from Chicago O'Hare Airport to the city center. And this is one of the reasons why I love Chicago's public transportation system, because no matter what time your flight comes in, if it's delayed or not, you can always take the Blue Line train to the city center, and we'll get into how to do that in just a minute. Hold on, y'all, hold on. The PACE network of buses runs roughly every day from about 5 a.m. to about 9:30 or 11 p.m. depending on which route you take. Again, we're not gonna get into PACE bus networks really in depth because we're talking about downtown Chicago, but generally buses run between every 30 to 60 minutes. Then there are water taxis, and they run about every 15 to 30 minutes, about 7 days a week. Generally about from 10 a.m. to maybe about 6:30 p.m. If you're trying to take notes, don't worry about it. I've got a whole blog post linked in the description down below that has links to all the maps and everything. So at the end of this video, go ahead and check out my blog and you'll get all of this information. So now that we know how Chicago is laid out, out a few of the popular acronyms that you'll see, the hours of operation, as well as where to find maps of all these transit routes. Now let's get into how do you get from the airport to the Chicago City Center. So my question to you is, which airport are you coming from? Chicago has 3 airports that you can choose from to get to the city center. The first is Chicago O'Hare International Airport with the acronym ORD. Chicago O'Hare is the biggest as well as the busiest airport in Chicago and often has a lot of cheap fares if you're looking for flights. So how do you get from O'Hare Airport to Chicago City Center? Or how do you get from Chicago O'Hare International Airport to the city center of Chicago? Well, just like this. From the terminals, follow signs that read Trains to City-CTA. See those acronyms coming in handy there? Once you follow the signs that read Trains to City-CTA, pay for your tickets, which we'll talk about which tickets to buy in the next section. You'll then want to take the Blue Line L train towards Forest Park or UIC Halstead, which is the university in downtown Chicago. You have a number of different stops to get off at. You can exit at the Clark Lake Station, Washington, Monroe, or Jackson stations. Trains from O'Hare to Forest Park run all day, every day, 24 hours a day, thanks to that night owl service on the Blue Line. I absolutely love that. I love that you can take the L line to the city center at any point in time during the day. And it takes about 50 to around 60 minutes to get from Chicago O'Hare Airport to downtown Chicago. And that's it. It's just as simple as that. If you're coming from Chicago Midway International Airport with the acronym MDW, what you want to do is you want to take the Orange Line CTA rail to any of the downtown stations, whether it's Harold Washington Library, LaSalle Van Buren, Quincy, Washington Wells, Clark Lake, State Lake, Washington Wabash, or Adams Wabash Station. The total travel time is about 35 to 45 minutes. And yes, Chicago Midway Airport is actually closer than Chicago O'Hare. But as I mentioned before, there are only 2 lines that run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Blue L line, which Chicago O'Hare is on, and the Red line, which doesn't service any airport. So because Midway is on the Orange line, you don't have that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week access. If you fly into South Bend International Airport, which is located in Indiana, as we've established, Chicago is in Illinois, not Indiana, you want to take the South Shore line to Millennium Station and then jump on a rail or a bus to navigate your way around the system. The total travel time is around 55 minutes to an hour and a half. The hours of the South Shore line to get to the Chicago City Center are extremely limited. So my tip to you all would be to kind of do what we did. We flew into Chicago O'Hare Airport, got our tickets, jumped on the L, and we're downtown. In fact, we did a whole blog on it because we hadn't been traveling in a while, so we were a little bit rusty. But once we got back into the hang of things, it was a super easy journey. It's kind of funny. So don't forget to stay tuned for that and click that subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you can see kind of what we were going through. This whole panoramic got us all So now we know how to get from Chicago O'Hare, Midway, or South Bend airports to the city center of Chicago, as well as the layout of the land. So now how do we get around Chicago on a budget? Number 1 is Ventra. Yes, I said it, Ventra. What is Ventra? Ventra is a contactless payment system that allows you to put money on either an app, a paper fare card, or a reusable fare card so that you can pay for your rides on either the CTA buses and rail systems or the PACE bus system. The cost of a reusable Ventra fare card is about $5, plus whatever the cost of whatever pass or however much money or value you want to put onto it. So does that make sense? You take your money, you put it on a Ventra pass, and then you use the Ventra pass to pay for your rides in Chicago. A single ride using a Ventra card is about $2.50 on a rail. It's a flat rate. It allows you to transfer about 1 or 2 times within a 2-hour period. And it's regardless of how long. If you can ride the whole network, just that one ride is going to be $2.50. You can use a Ventra card on the CTA system as well as the PACE bus system. I also mentioned a disposable paper fare card. So a single ride, not with this reusable fare card, but on a single paper ticket is $3. And transfers on the CTA no more than 2 rides within 24 hours. And it's about 25 cents for the CTA bus system and the rail system. You can't really transfer buses if you're gonna use cash. Y'all, $2.50 for a single ride is incredibly cheap. I mean, an Uber or a Lyft or other rideshare service is gonna cost you at least $8, $9, $10 to $12 per ride, depending on, of course, traffic and the conditions, or are there any notable events in the area. It like varies, but a flat rate $2.50 all day, every day, that's what I'm talking about, and that's how you get around Chicago on a budget. There are also unlimited passes that you can load onto your Ventra card. And guess what? If you have an unlimited pass, you don't have to pay that $5 to buy the card. There is a 1-day CTA unlimited pass for $10, 3-day CTA unlimited pass for $20, a 7-day CTA unlimited pass for $28, a 7-day CTA and Pace Unlimited Pass for $33, and a 30-day CTA Pace Unlimited Pass for $105. And there is a special. If you're watching this video from May 28th to November 25th, 2021, the 1, 3, and 7-day passes will be $5, $15, and $20. So you've got a discount there. Hun and I went during this period, and we sure enough got our $5 off a 3-day pass using the Ventra reusable fare card. So there could be specials going on. Definitely check out the CTA website, transitchicago.com, to see if there's any special fares going on for your next trip. The fares apply to adults ages 12 and up, and kids 0 to 6 are completely free with an adult who's taking a ride. CTA buses will accept cash, but it's only exact change. Otherwise, the CTA rail system, you have to load up either on a paper fare card or download the Ventra app or use the reusable fare card. If you're coming from O'Hare Airport, you need to know that there's a special $5 airport fee in addition to whatever rail passes you have. But this $5 fee is not charged if you get the unlimited pass. If you buy a single ride ticket, yeah, they're gonna charge you that $5 airport surcharge. But with an unlimited pass, don't worry about it, booze. Unlimited passes got you. If you're gonna drive in Chicago, let me go ahead and nip this in the butt. Not only do you have to pay for the kind of expensive cost of the rental car, but there's also gas. And y'all, parking in Chicago, the prices are kind of ridiculous. If you want to park by the hour, it's generally around $16 to $20 for 1 hour, or between $30 and $70 per day to park. So getting a 1-day unlimited Ventra pass is only gonna cost you $10. But hey, if you wanna take a car, no shade to you, just know that this video is about how to get around Chicago on a budget, and the Ventra card is it. So where do you buy a Ventra card? You can buy a Ventra card before you head to any of the rail stations. You can buy it at select retailers. You can even buy it online. You can dial 1-877 NOW Ventra and get your card ordered to you. You can pay for the cards using either a cash or a debit card. And how do you use it? Once you've loaded either a value or a pass onto your Ventra card, just tap it on the card reader. You'll hear a little chime, you'll see a green go, and you just go about your merry business. The card is valid from the first time you use it up until the length of your pass. So if you have a 3-day pass that you buy on 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, it's valid from 1 p.m. Tuesday to 1 p.m. Wednesday, 1 p.m. Thursday, and ending on 1 p.m. on a Friday. You can load money on your reusable fare card for up to 20 years. You guys see this? It's got a 20-year expiration limit. So you can continue to come back to Chicago and continue to load money on this single reusable pass. One of the pros of using a Ventra card is that you can load a pass as well as money at the same time. But if you do that, they're gonna deduct from your pass first, and then any monetary value you have on the card second. Next, you can use one Ventra card for up to 6 additional riders, but you have to make sure that if you're gonna do that, you need to make sure that you have enough value, i.e. money on your card for everyone. You can't load like 6 different passes. You can load one pass, and then money will be deducted for the other 6 riders. One of the cons of the Ventra card is that it takes time to figure out how much money you need for your entire trip if you're gonna just use a single fare. So you have to add up $250 here, and then maybe $225 for a bus, and then maybe a transfer, and that can get really annoying. If you fail to register your card, or if you lose your card, that's it. Once you lose it, you're gonna have to pay for a new one. Even if you do register your card, you have to wait even more because they're gonna mail you a replacement. So that actually happened to my hun. He lost the card, and we just had to buy another one because there's no way we had something mailed to us when we're only gonna be there for 3 days. So if you're considering getting a Ventra card, my special tip to you is that the $5 that you pay for the actual card can actually be refunded to you in the form of a $5 credit if you register your card within 90 days. Once you pay for your card at one of the vending machines or a ticket counter booth or one of the retailers, it's automatically activated for you. So all you have to do is just buy it, grab it from the machine, and then use it. But if you decide to order your Ventra card in advance online, which you can do before you head out to Chicago, note that you're gonna have to activate it before you use it, and the activation instructions come with the card in the mail. So that $5 fee can also be waived if you're paying for the card online or by phone. The second way to get around Chicago on a budget is with a contactless or a mobile payment or wallet app. So what is this? It's a contactless debit or credit card that is issued by your bank. If you have an iPhone or a Samsung or an Android phone, you can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, or Samsung Pay to pay for each of your trips. Just make sure that if you're using a contactless pay system, that you have this contactless symbol on your debit or credit card. If it does not have this symbol, you cannot use it to pay for your rides. The cost of using a contactless system is the same as using a Ventra card, and this happens every time you tap your card. So the contactless card systems are for single rides only. Pros of using a contactless payment is that it costs just as much as a single ride as using the Ventra, so you don't really have to get a Ventra card. You can just use your contactless payment or your Apple Pay or your Samsung or Google Pay. It's really fast, it's quick, it's convenient. You don't have to buy an extra card, and you don't have to worry about calculating confusing fares. You just tap and then you go, and it automatically charges your card. Now the cons of using a contactless or a mobile wallet app as a payment to get around Chicago on a budget is that those fares can add up pretty quickly if you're not really paying attention. I mean, think about it. You've got $5 from the airport, another $5 to get back to the airport, so it's $10 round trip, plus $2.50 whenever you take the rail, or $2.25 you hit a bus, plus all the transfers. And if you don't think about it, you can just tap, go, tap, go, tap, go, and next thing you know, you've got all these charges on your account when you could have just purchased an unlimited pass and saved a lot more money. Another con is that it may take a couple of days to actually process your payment on your credit card statement. So what do I mean by this? Payments are batch processed. So no matter how many times you put your contactless card or your mobile payment wallet app on the card reader, you might only see one $2.50 charge, and it may not even be on the day that you actually went. So billing can be a little bit confusing. And the banks may take a couple days to actually process how much to charge you. So this can be a little bit frustrating and confusing if you're looking to reconcile your bank statements pretty quickly, either during or after your trip. So my special tips to you all would be, if you're gonna use a mobile wallet app or a contactless credit or debit card, know that there's going to be a $5 hold the very first time that you use your card. And it may take from 24 to 48 or even 72 hours for your bank to reconcile all your charges for the correct amount. So be patient and don't call your banks or your credit card or your debit card issuers immediately, because it may take a couple days for that final amount to process. And also be very mindful, if you have multiple contactless cards in your wallet and you just tap your wallet down or tap your phone down that has a little, slot for different credit or debit cards, know that you might be charged on all of your contactless payment cards. So don't put a stack of cards with the one you want to use on top. Just make sure that you take out the one card you want to use, and make sure that your other cards, whatever cards you have, are separate, and only tap the one card you want to use. Make sure it's not touching the other cards, or else you're going to get charged a lot of extra money for just that one tap. Next, you can use Divvy. And Divvy is a bike rental system where you can rent classic or e-bikes. There are over 600 stations and over 6,000 bikes sprinkled all around the city of Chicago. The cost of a bike rental is about $3.30 for a 30-minute ride, or $15 for an unlimited all-day pass. For your e-bikes, they charge between 2 and 5 cents a minute depending on if you have an unlimited subscription or not. And that charge is also based on the length of time you're renting the bike as well as the zone. Divvy has different zones and there's a map. A link is in the description box below in my blog post. You can go on Divvy's website and look at the different locations, so you can go and pick up a bike and rent it. To use a Divvy bike, you can either download the Divvy app or use your phone to pay for and unlock a bike at one of the stations. You'll get a separate QR code that's unique to you that you then scan, pick up your bike, and go about your merry business. When you're all done riding, you can dock at one of the stations, and that's pretty much it. Pros of using a bike is that it can be eco-friendly, a fast and fun way to see the city, and you don't really have to dock a classic bike at the station that you picked it up from. So you can start in one station and then dock it in the next. E-bikes have a special station that you have to dock it in, so that would be one of the cons. There's also a $3.30 unlock fee. Plus, there are special rules that apply if you don't dock your e-bike at a certain location, and they're gonna charge you $25 if you don't do that. Plus, if your bike is lost or stolen, you are going to be charged $1,200, which may not be the cheapest way to get around Chicago on a budget if your bike is stolen. It may be easier to just pick up a Ventra card or use your contactless payment. But again, biking is a pretty affordable, fun, fast, and easy way to get around Chicago on a budget. And then there are the water taxis. Yeah, that's right, a water taxi. It is a taxi, but on the water. So essentially it's just a boat that serves as a taxi, making select stops, maybe about 5 or 6 stops on the Chicago River. Chicago Water Taxi and Shoreline Water Taxi are two prominent services. The cost varies, but it generally runs between $6 to $10 per adult for one single ride, with half off for children. You can even pick up an all-day pass on one of the lines for about $10 too. Pretty cheap way to get around. You can buy your tickets for a water taxi ride either at the dock themselves or online. All you have to do is show your pass and then just jump on board. The pros are that the water taxi is a calm, relaxing way to get around Chicago. There's little to no traffic on the water, plus there's spaces for you to sit inside the cabin as well as on the deck outside of the cabin. There are restrooms and some stops are wheelchair accessible. Most of the stops are Chicago attractions anyway, so what better way to see a Chicago attraction than to get there by boat? But because it's on a boat, there are a couple of cons that you have to consider. First is it's on a boat, so if you get seasick, this may not be the best option for you. Also, the water taxis only run, like I mentioned earlier in this video, in the spring and summer months, so long as the weather is good. So if it's going to thunder and storm or rain, the boats are not going to run, and that decision is made by the captain on the spot. So if you're looking to book your tickets in advance and then get there and then notice that the taxi isn't running, that decision was made on the spot based on the weather, which changes whenever it wants to because it's the weather. The good thing is that your passes are valid for alternative days, so you don't have to just pick a day and ride that day. You can use them again. And also note that the water taxis are not the same as the river architecture cruise. I know some people want to jump on the water taxis because it's $6 to $10 and they think that it's another form of the river architecture cruise, like I talked about in my things to do in Chicago video, but it's not. As long as you know that it's just a taxi on the water, and sure, it might have a restroom, but there's no narration, there's no special treatment. You can't buy drinks or libations. It's just a taxi to get you from point A to point B. So as long as you recognize that, you'll be just fine. And if water taxis aren't your thing, you can just walk. And I highly, 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 highly recommend walking. Chicago is a walkable city, and there are some things that you can find that you just won't be able to do on a rail or a bus or a water taxi or even a bike. For instance, my husband and I were walking back to our hotel from Millennium Park. It was just a 10-minute walk, and we ran into a Nutella restaurant, and the line was out the door. And I wouldn't have even noticed that shop had I just been passing by on another form of transportation. Chicago has a lot of different parks and they are beautiful, so walking them is going to be so wonderful. The cheapest way to get around any city on a budget is to just walk, and Chicago is walkable. With a lot of the attractions within a 1 to 2 mile range of each other, you might as well just walk as long as the weather is to your liking. So how do you get around Chicago on a budget? You can use a Ventra card to pay for CTA rail or bus passes. You can use your contactless payment to pay for those same CTA rail or bus passes. You can get a divvy bike, a water taxi. You can walk. You know how to get around Chicago. You know what Chicago's laid out. You know the hours of operation. You know how to get from the airports to the city center. So now here are a few additional tips if you're gonna get around Chicago on a budget. If you're gonna be in downtown Chicago's Loop area, there is a smaller CTA little map for the Loop section because it's literally, as you can see, in a loop. According to the University of Chicago Studies site, not all trains go around the loop in the same direction, so you need to know which direction you're gonna go in. Of the trains that go around it, the red and blue lines go under it as subways, and the pink, orange, and purple lines run clockwise, while the brown and green lines run counterclockwise. So as you're navigating Chicago, look for that inner loop, smaller CTA rail system, and know which direction you're going on. Of course, it doesn't hurt if you go in the wrong direction because you'll get to the same spot anyways. It's just gonna take you a little bit longer. Some of the rail lines in Chicago are above ground that you can kind of see looking, it kind of looks like a Disney monorail system. And it kind of makes a loud clacky noise. So if you're walking and you hear like a clack, 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 and you're like, whoa, what's happening? It's because one of the elevated trains are running around the loop. When you come up to a rail station, if you see stairs going down, you know the train is gonna be underground. Or if you see stairs descending up, you know that it's gonna be one of those elevated tracks. So that is Chicago's public transportation system explained, how to get around Chicago on a budget. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to share this video with a friend for your next trip. If you're looking for things to do in Chicago, watch this video, or if you're looking for what you need to know before you go to Chicago, check out this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment box down below. I will answer them, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.